Heat last night, 127-102. This series now even at one game apiece. Jason Tatum led Boston with 27 and certainly got some help from Marcus Smart and Al Horford. Welcome back, guys. They returned to the starting lineup after missing game one. After this game, Ime Udoka said, quote, "It was great to have the vets back." Obviously, a calming presence there. All right, Shannon, fast forward, prediction time. Who wins game 3 back in Boston?
I'm going to take the Celtics because they're back at full strength. They look better. They look like the Celtics that took apart the Brooklyn Nets. They look like the Celtics that took down the Milwaukee Bucks in 7 games when they had to go on the road and beat Milwaukee in Milwaukee. And when they're playing like this, when they have got skill, look, you got to roll. And with Marcus Smart and Al Horford back in the starting lineup, everybody goes back to their normal roles. Go back to doing what they do. Jason Tatum, yes, he can facilitate, but that's really not what he's great at. He's great at putting the ball in the basket. Now, he's always going to make the right play. But to have to do that time in and time out, time in and time out, when that's not naturally what I do, let me do what I do. Give me the ball, let me rain threes, let me put it on the floor, get to my mid-range, or go all the way to the rim. That's what he does. And now you get these guys and the rotation that they have. Jaylen Brown he's streaky. He gets hot from the 3. He can shoot you out the building.
He loves some Miami. I got to tell you, he loves that building.
Skip, and the thing is, Miami got to stop thinking that they can just turn it on in the second half. Because the first half, Skip, remember the game that they won? The first half, they were down big. They cut it to 8, and then they went on that 22-2 run, and then they went on an 11-0 run at the end of the third quarter. You got to stop thinking, because if you look at it, the first 4 quarters in the first half, the Celtics had dominated. You really only dominated 1 quarter of the 8. And that's why you find yourself in a position where you're tied. I mean, you're tied 1-1, and you didn't want to be tied 1-1. You want to be going to Boston up 2-0. So when I look at it, Skip, I just think the Boston Celtics have the better team. They have the better starting 5, and I love Grant Williams. I love Peyton Pritchard. Grant Williams is just so versatile at what he can do. Yeah, he can shoot the 3, but he rebounds fairly well. He can make plays if you need him to do that. And Skip, he can defend. It doesn't matter whether it's Brook Lopez, Giannis, Jimmy Butler, Strus. It does not matter. So when you have guys that are versatile like that, and Pritchard coming off the bench, Skip, Pritchard played 23 minutes. It was a plus 39, plus minus. Grant Williams played 32 minutes. He was a plus 37. So when you get guys giving you that kind of production that's in their roles, that I get to do what I've been doing the whole year. And Skip, if you remember, from January, I think it's January 3rd, the Celtics are 36-11. It took them a while to grasp what Udoka wanted them to do, but once they did, they took off. And Skip, they've been beating the brakes off the people. They had the largest lead of a true role playoff game in that history. Do you know the Celtics won 8 championships in a row?
I do.
And we know what those Bird Celtics were. They were beating the hell out of people. Yep. They've never had a 25-point halftime lead. And that's what this Celtics team, it lets you know just how talented they are, Skip. They're really, really good. And you better hope Tatum and Brown are having off days the same day, because either guy can go give you a 30-piece or a 40-piece on a given night. And if they both got it going like they had last night, this is what you get. Blowout.
Preach, Shannon, preach. You are an NFL Hall of Famer who is also, you double as a basketball savant. And you've got me cornered. You've got me dead to rights. You are almost certainly right. This series is over.
Ain't nobody said nothing about the series.
Boston Celtics are being shooed into the NBA Finals, and I cannot fight back at this moment. And I should further disqualify my team and my pick, because it sounds like P.J. Tucker might be injured.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yep, it looked like it.
He's got a knee injury. I don't know anything about it, but he's having an MRI today. He's one of the toughest who ever played this game. But sometimes when it comes to knees and joints, when it's hurt, it's just hurt.
Yep.
And there's, as you always say, the difference between hurt and injured. If you're injured, you're injured.
Yeah, you sitting down. You ain't playing through that.
Okay. And if I don't have him, then I give up.
Right.
I just tell you, it's because he is the primary defender on Jason Tatum.
Yeah, so if you take Jimmy Butler and put him on Jason Tatum, who you going to put on Jaylen Brown?
It's just guts and glue, and they're not as deep as Boston. They don't play off the bench. That they haven't yet, anyway. They haven't played off the bench the way Boston plays off the bench. So I've got that issue, and I've got a point guard issue, because if Kyle Lowry cannot go in this series, he is head of my snake. He is a 6-time All-Star, a 1-time All-NBA player who has a championship ring. And he's missed 8 of the last 10 playoff games with a probably torn hamstring. Is he going to even be able to limp onto the floor for Game 3 and or Game 4? I would like to tell you, my gut is that the Heat will win one of these 2 games, because they better win one of these 2 games, or we don't have a series, because they're not going to come back from 3-1 down against this team, this depth, and that coach. I'm sorry, ain't going to happen. So all I can cling to is what happened on March the 30th. This was late in the season. If you're thinking about this, the Celtics have found themselves. The Celtics have taken off. The Celtics are playing their starters all the way home. Remember, that's what you applauded them for this, right? Because they said, no, we're just going to play it out. We don't care who we play. We don't care if it's Milwaukee in the second round. We're going to avoid nobody. We're going to play our starters all the way home.
Correct.
So this is a starters game on March 30. We're almost to April at this point. And the Miami Heat go into Boston. We still call it Boston Garden. I don't know what it is, but TD Garden.
TD Gardens.
Okay, TD Gardens. Okay. So they go in there, and they win this game against the full-strength Celtics 106-98. Because remember, Miami's on its way to winning the Eastern Conference, right? Best record in the East. On that given day, I believe it was a Wednesday night, Jimmy Butler had 24. Kyle Lowry, no longer available at this moment, Kyle Lowry had 23 and 8 assists. Bam! Had 17 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. Well, that's what I've been lacking here, especially in Game 2 last night. But that's how they did it. They shot 38% from 3, and they made 13 threes to only 11 for Boston, but Boston shot 30% from 3. Well, these are three-point shooting contests, so the team that was the best three-point defense in all of basketball held Boston at home to 30% from 3 and outshot them 13 to 11 from 3 and ended up winning by 8. Okay? That's the blueprint. That happened. I watched some of that game because I like the Heat and I like Jimmy Butler. And I said, aha, that's legit. You can hang your hat on a game like that.
But Skip, if you watch the Celtics over the last 5 or 6 games, what have they been doing more of? Taking threes. What have they also been doing more of? Making threes. Remember how they bombed in Game 7? How they shot Milwaukee out of the building from the 3? Grant Williams. Those guys. So we know they're more than capable of making the threes. Now, without P.J. Tucker, now you got, if you guard the 3, Skip, they still got guys that can beat you off the dribble. Jason Tatum can put the ball on the floor. JB can put the ball on the floor.
They're very good. But so is Miami. Miami has a backbone that was built and taught by Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra.
Yes.
A defensive backbone that was not apparent last night, but will rise and will shine in Boston. The Miami Heat will not go away in these 2 games. I promise you, these will be fist fight games.
Yeah, I don't expect another 25-point victory, Skip. But I still believe that the Celtics have the better team. They have the better 7-8-man roster. Because when you get to the playoffs, that's what it's about. Skip, it's about matchups. And the matchup is Grant Williams playing more minutes than Robert Williams, along with Al Horford, JB, JT, and Smart. That seemed to be their depth lineup, because when that lineup came onto the floor, when they took Robert Williams out, they put Grant Williams in, the Celtics took off. And they didn't look back. They went 17-0. And if you notice, he played a little bit. Robert Williams started the second half, and the next thing you know, here come Grant Williams. And they tried to make a run, and then they got the lead all the way up to 34. And so that seems to be the way they can go, because in that lineup, we can switch everything 1 through 5, especially when Bam playing like he's playing right now. But even if he is, I still got Al Horford and I still got Grant Williams to play Bam. Skip, it's not like Bam is a big, but he's not like a Jokic. He's not like a Joel Embiid where I got to worry about him just dogging me with his back to the basket. Hey, he's backing me down. He's going to turn over either shoulder. That's not what Bam is.
He's 6'9" Yes.
Yeah, so They list him as a big, Skip. But like I said, I'm not worried about him or Joel Embiid or Jokic to me. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about him, Karl Anthony Towns, that can call for the ball down on the block. Because Al Horford ain't no slouch now on the defensive end. Grant Williams, that's a little football player, Skip. Hey, he can bang.
Can he?
So I like where I'm sitting right now. I like where I'm sitting.
You love where you're sitting.
I'm in the catbirds. I must say, I'm in the catbirds.
I don't know what it is, but you're in it. But Shannon Sharp, I'm going to remind you what has been the reigning narrative throughout these crazy playoffs that we have been debating every day on this show. It has been roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
Just when you're ready to anoint and crown, whoops, that happened. Just when you think Golden State's invincible, they suddenly, what? They trail by 55? Admit by 55? Just when you're ready to write off Luka and company, they win at home. And then they win at home again. And then they win at home again. Well, how'd they do that? They lost by an average of 19 points a game in the first 3 at Phoenix. Roller coaster. Boston, Milwaukee, back and forth.
But you thought Phoenix was fraudulent all along. You never loved Phoenix.
I did not love Phoenix, but I loved them in Game 7 at home. I just thought that was a done deal, and I think you did too.
I did.
Okay? But in the end, Boston, Milwaukee, it just kept, it would just tilt on its head just when I thought